Alright, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna go along with that guy, but here's what I take for utilities. Alright, so if you are doing single target pressure, like let's say there is a ranked 4v4, and your team wants you to sit on a caster in the backline, or a healer the entire time, and the healer will not be in the cleave location, perhaps they will just be off to the side. So we go into a single target Venge spec, and that is my favorite. So at the level 27 option, I take Ravage Root, because we're not cleaving anyway, so it's nice to root him, the person we are tunneling. And then the only thing we need to really swap out is the level 73 option. I typically go for Pooled Hatred, because I love Pooled Hatred. And that's really all you need to change. You also need to change your tactical to Hemophilic Slash, as this is pretty good for keeping up dot pressure. And it also helps with keeping up Blood Rage, especially on one specific target. Alright, now if you are doing a cleave match and you want to pull like 20 to 28k DPS with a one button rotation, with a no-brain type of spec, then you equip Cut to Pieces if you can at least cleave 3 to 4 targets in a game, if that is your role for that game. Typically common in unranked and team ranked when there are tanks and healers that have at least 2 to 3 melee range targets, and not things like a sorcerer healer with 2 snipers, because then you're not going to use Cut to Pieces, that's for sure. So when you're running Cut to Pieces, you want more AoE, so then you take AoE Cone Scream, and then you're not really going to use more than this button, this button, this button, maybe that, and then your DCDs with Blood Rage, and that's pretty much it, except for maybe a Mad Dash every now and then, and a Force Charge to a Reply Brawn, or maybe like a Force Choke or whatever. But you're not really going to be using a whole lot of filler with Cut to Pieces, as it's pretty much just this button, and then this button, and then that's it. So you don't really get a whole lot of use out of Pooled Hatred, so then you go for, in my opinion, Through Passion. Because most specs already, and most types of classes can already apply Asunder anyway. So then you take Through Passion. And that is it. That is all you need to do. Okay, so now that we've got utilities out of the way, let's briefly go over how to not be a crap Juggernaut. I see a lot of crap Juggernauts in solo ranked at the moment in 7.0, because the spec is no longer stupid easy when Grit Teeth has been reduced to a near useless tactical. So no one has a now super stupid cheese tactical, unless you now count Cut to Pieces, which is quite cheese, as you can simply have a 2-button rotation. Anyway, let's go over how to not get globaled like Kogas in solos. Because if we die in less than 10 seconds, or sometimes less than 4 seconds, that is pretty bad. So we're going to go over how to avoid that real quick. Now, my best example is my last video of solo ranked in 7.0 as a Vengeance Juggernaut. I show you how to survive against 2 of the best Marauders in the game as a Vengeance Juggernaut. So please watch that if you haven't already, if you are curious. So the thing to understand about Vengeance Juggernaut is the defensive cooldowns, because that is the most important thing. Anyone can put on Cut to Pieces and start doing this button and this button repeatedly to infinity and not have to care. So the most important thing, and this is where better players actually shine, is their management of defensive abilities. So let's look at that. So Blade Turning, Juggernauts get this and Marauders do not. We get 100% melee and range defense chance for 2 seconds when we use Saber Ward. So when a Deception Sin or some Marauder is in solo ranked and they see, oh, it's a Jug! Let's pop on that Jug for our opener, and then let's kill that guy and tunnel him, and then before we swap to the next target. And that's typically what they do. So we pop Saber Ward, and that gives us 100% melee and range defense chance. Now it does not have defense chance of 100% against tech attacks or force attacks, but it does have 100% against melee and range defense, just like Mad Dash. So we use that, and we need to have Brawn up as much as we can. Brawn is 20% extra damage reduction for 4 seconds and stun immunity for 4 seconds when we use Force Charge, so we need to be having Blade Turning active early, as well as Brawn active early, and maybe a Force Push to reset the cooldown of Force Charge to get another Brawn stack pretty early, as if we are the first or second person in line to get slapped in solo ranked, we need to be on our ass as much as we can to survive. So in order to peel out of AoEs, that is something not everybody is familiar with, especially if you are a player that just uses cut to pieces and uses this button and this button over and over and doesn't actually use their brain. So now let's go over how to actually use our brain. For this example, I'm going to use Hemoflick Slash because this requires using your brain, where this tactical does not. So the difference between the rotations of Cut to Pieces and Hemoflick Slash, we're going to look at that right now. For the opener, I get some rage, I apply my dots, and then I use a lot of filler. So Ravage, and I will actually have to use things like Saber Throw, and pretty much everything that I actually have slotted on my primary bars, including Mad Dash. So when my next Force Charge comes back, we're going to look at peeling. So I can still use melee or pretty close to melee ranged attacks while being kind of out of the AoE area, so maybe around over here. Now of course I can go back in for a dot spread if I would like to, but this is how you can avoid the majority of AoEs and be very annoying. So we are avoiding things like Carbonize and Oil Slick as much as we can. And this also helps when there is like another Venge Jug or a Hatred Sin on the other team, and they are trying to use you for dot spreads. This makes it very inconvenient for them, as you are always trying to peel away as much as possible. Now if you are slowed by like 80% and if you are nearly RP walking like this, then you can't really do that, and that sucks. But that is typically how you peel away in normal matches. Now before I forget to mention it, every spec should be using a Warzone Adrenal and a Warzone Medpack. Every spec have these, and every spec should use those. Do not be afraid to use a Warzone Adrenal early if you are taking, a noticeable amount of damage. It is better to try and save your health than to use these late when you have like 20% hit points left. You should definitely use this stuff early, especially if there is like, a solo ranked match and there's no healer. So it's better to use this when you're at like, 60% health or 50% health, rather than have a scenario where you have like 20% health and you're about to use it, but then someone stuns you and you no longer have a CC breaker, so then you die and you never ended up using that. So you should definitely use it early when it is intelligent in its decision to do that. So then you actually use that. And another thing, everybody can use grenades. So some people think these are annoying and stupid, and yes they are. However, since ability pruning in 7.0 got rid of things like intimidating roar, these are now more common. So everybody can use a grenade, and it lasts for like 5 seconds, but of course someone can break it early if they are being annoying. They do have a pretty long cooldown, so they definitely don't have very good uptime. And when you use this, a thing goes on that target that was affected by it. I think it's called like Bastion? I don't remember. But they can't be targeted by a grenade for 3 minutes. So I guess if matches are going for a hella long time, maybe you can use another grenade, but generally you can only use it like once a round. Unless the round, for whatever reason, is in eternity and it goes past 3 minutes. And that's all I've got. So if you feel like I missed anything, or you have any questions, or you would like some advice on something, or your feedback on something, please put a comment below. And I hope that helps some of you. So thank you for watching.